We have Ming Na. Hello.
Ah.
1, 2, 3.
Hey.
Hi, everyone. Wow. Everyone looks amazing. Hi.
Your lighting wins, by the way. You have the best lighting in the bunch. Thumbs up. And we have direct from London, George. I think he's just down the blimey from you. Goran is here. Oh, George, you look crazy.
Goran.
Hey guys. How are you?
Well, someone didn't age.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, you know what? I'm like the portrait of Dorian Gray for all of you. I get old. You guys look great.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks.
Goran, do you live in London now permanently, or are you there doing a panto?
I'm in Cornwall. Yeah, but we moved here last summer. Yeah. So England.
Wow.
Cold there.
Blood pudding.
Nah, it's okay. I mean, right now it is a little bit cold, but we actually had a pretty mild winter, you know. So the plan was being close to Croatia, travel every second weekend, but
lockdown. Yeah. We have a
According
question.
to your Instagram account. Your Instagram account makes it seem like you are in the most beautiful places in the world always.
Well, I've been moving around, you know, but this place is really gorgeous. You know, we're on a 5-mile beach here in Hale, down in Cornwall. So it's really pretty, you know, but it's photography.
So when looking through all these clips, and being over 26 years ago that ER premiered, so much of it's still relevant today. But there were a couple of things that we noticed, Laura. That this scene that we found, and it's like, what is
because you're like, I want to protect patients' privacy, but you protect them by literally making it easier to do identity theft. Let's watch.
I've created a diagnostic code for the board. It's a list of a few hundred easy-to-remember 2-letter combinations of our most common patient complaints, and we can use the patient's social security numbers to protect their anonymity.
Look at these social security numbers up on the board. I guess that was better.
Sorry. You can't do everything right.
Laura, did you ever switch your cane? Did you ever switch it from one arm to the other?
One time.
That's what I thought.
Wait, on a bet or by accident?
By accident. Because I was walking down the hall and I was like, oh shit. Because I started doing something with the wrong hand. And I can't be. So I didn't tell anyone. I didn't say, let's do another take. I was afraid I'm getting into trouble. So I just thought, oh, well.
But
you can comb through 12 years of ER.
Your commitment to that cane and the way that you embodied the physical performance took a toll on you over the course of the season. I remember you telling me you had to do pretty extensive body work just because of the way that you were spending so many hours a day in a sort of difficult body position.
Yeah, I have, I had a little bit of stuff, and actually the bottom of my spine has a little curve.
An ER curve?
Hip up.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really bother me, but yeah, they just said, yeah, there's a little like hook there. And I was like, shoot. Oh, well.
Yeah.
But you know who helped me a lot was John Fong.
Oh, John.
He was a wonderful doctor who worked with us who passed, and he's an amazing guy.
We lost
And
a
he
few
was one of
people.
the people who he said to me, he said, when you're not in the scene, switch arms and just use the other arm so you'll balance. I was like, I never thought of that. Anyways.
That makes sense.
Oh, so it was his fault for the arm switch.
Yes, exactly.
I'll blame him. That's really mean to blame him.
Well, I'm just saying. I have a question, by the way. So, Juliana, everyone says you were only supposed to be on that first episode and then die. What happened? Like, how did you find out I'm coming back? Like, how exciting was that? Who called you and what happened? It just sounds thrilling.
Yeah, it was pretty unbelievable. George called me and said, if you're thinking of taking a job, just come back to New York because I died in the pilot. And he said, if you're thinking of taking a job, I urge you not to. I think the next couple of days you might be offered a series regular role. And I was like, but I died. How does that work? And he was like, I don't know, but I think it's going to work. And so I was about to go and do Homicide, Life on the Street, because I had done 2 episodes of it before I did the pilot of ER, and they wanted me back. And I didn't take the job. And like a week later, they called and said, we're going to make you a series regular.
How did you know?
It was like 13 out of set, whatever it was. Yeah. The first season.
I went to the test, and they did a test of it, and the show tested, extraordinarily well. And the network, NBC, didn't really believe the test. They thought that Warner Brothers had doctored it, and so they brought in another audience, like a Jay Leno audience or something from another, and brought him in right away to try to prove that the show couldn't, because the network didn't like the show. They thought it was too dark and too many things were happening and no one would understand the words. And they tested it twice in a day, and it tested off the charts. And they realized, because Jules' character was such an important part of it, that there's no way they were going to kill her off. So it was an interesting day.
How did you know, though, not to take Homicide? I mean, why did you think one show would be better than the other?
I have to say, I didn't know. I called Tom Fontana, who wrote Homicide with Barry Levinson. I called him because I didn't know what to do, and I needed a job. I was broke. And I said, I don't know what to do, because there's this pilot I did, and I think it's an amazing show, and they might keep me on. And he said, if you don't take risks in life, you'll never know. And I'll always have a place for you here. I mean, he was like my guardian angel. And so between him and George, I said, okay, I'll wait. I won't eat for a week. No, I wasn't that bad, but yeah. And what was amazing is Sherry, I don't know if you guys remember this, but when my I truly think the only reason my character lived was the way Rod Holcomb shot her coming in on a gurney, overdosed. The way he shot it with the Steadicam and then through everyone's eyes suddenly elevated my character, because everyone that you cared about on the show cared about this person. And I think that's really what helped tremendously to keep me there. But Sherry, she states that I have a positive Babinski, which would have meant I was brain dead. But she had the chart like up to her face when she said it. So they just looped it and said negative Babinski or something like that. So I wasn't brain dead, which so I have Sherry to thank too. I have everyone to thank, but
the Babinski was taking your finger up the middle of the foot, right?
Yeah. Like you take it up the middle, and if the toe moves, you're brain dead.
If it curls this way,
and if it doesn't, you're not. So yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? I know.
That's a great inside scoop.
By the way, Noah, I'm looking at this. You look like you're staying, like you're the Unabomber where you're staying. What are you doing?
Or Homeland, like Carrie.
I'm house sitting for George in Lake Como, and this place is really weird, man.
I like it.
No, it's my office, which has started to look a lot more like Russell Crowe's shack in A Beautiful Mind.
I kind of like it.
Thank you.
I can't see what all those pictures are. I'm so blind.
All my heroes.
So we haven't heard anything from Ming. What's going on? How have you been?
Hi, George. Hi, everybody. Life's been a blessing, and it's been wonderful. And Gloria, thank you for inviting me to this great party. I was so excited to see everybody again. I've seen a few people, but knock on wood, being Asian and being a woman of a certain age these days, it's nice to still be working. So and family's good, but I think this was really my first big foray when I came out to LA, was this show. So I have such incredible memories of coming out there and guest starring that first year, not knowing what 40 shares meant at all. I had no idea it was such a huge show. It's just been the platform that, propelled everything else, I think. But
we talked about role models. Would you get letters? Especially with that pregnancy episode with giving up your child for adoption, would you get letters from people who haven't given up or were considering doing an adoption plan?
Yes. It's still a very memorable and vital episode because I was truly pregnant and having to play the part of having given birth before I gave birth to my first child. I mean, I remember working with Noah on those scenes and I was just bawling at every take. And Noah's like, just save it for your close-up. And I'm like, I can't help it.
I just remember saying this thing.
He's so hormonal.
Don't really push. Don't really push. Push. Don't really push. Don't really push.
That's hilarious.
It was so insane. And then I remember Jonathan Kaplan like wanting me to like really scream and push and scream. And I was going through that whole like thing of I'm going to just visualize and give birth in the most peaceful, most beautiful way. And then when I had my first child, 33 hours of labor later, I called Jonathan. I'm like, can we reshoot those scenes? I don't think I screamed enough.
Do you remember we were doing there was a pregnancy scene, a birth scene, and Tony had to, Tony was the doctor giving birth, and it was like Noah and Eric and Juliana and I were standing outside the window, and I put that remote fart machine underneath the actor, and you kept going, push, and she would go, oh, and you hear the sound, and you see Tony's face, he just freezes. And he tries to keep it together, and you can see us in the window going like this, sort of slowly like falling out the window, and then he goes, all right, Libby, you can do this. Push. She goes, and finally, it's just his head is down like on her knees, and he just goes, push.
That remote control fart machine got a lot of play that season.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember the alien. Remember, Julia? How scared we were? Who pulled out?
I pulled the alien out.
Did you pull? Yeah, Tony pulled out this alien, and we all screamed.
Yeah, remember Crazy Werner that you did all the special effects?
Yeah.
He had it from like Alien Baby.
I think it was you, Tony. You pulled the alien out.
Yeah, I pulled it out. And,
Tony, remember that they would always bring babies because you'd have triplets. If you're going to have a baby that's like, a week old, you can only have them on the set for like 30 seconds or something, and they would cover them in strawberry jam, literally strawberry jam, so they look like they've just been born. And we would have this $10,000 lifelike rubber baby that we would rehearse with. And, Noah or Tony or Eric, whoever was doing it at the time, every time the parents are sitting there holding their babies on the set, we would do the rehearsal. And we would always drop the rubber baby.
You had to drop the baby. You got to drop the baby.
Just to see their reaction.
This is before we were parents.
Yes. Yes. That's true.
This is when we were dicks.
Yeah, well,
to bring it down, we have that really beautiful scene between Ming-Na and Noah here. This is it. It's so great.
Aww.
18 years from now, he shows up looking for an explanation.
Well, you tell him the truth, You tell him that you wanted to provide the best home possible for him.
Did I tell him I was a coward? That my bigoted parents were more important to me than he was?
Oh, yeah. Some heavy shiz.
You guys look you're so young. Oh my God.
Good acting is good acting.
Yeah.
Michaela is now 20 years old.
What?
A baby that was inside my body when we shot that scene.
Are you kidding?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You guys know that Bailey is now 27.
Oh my God.
No.
That's insane.
27?
And to this day, because he was born the January before we did the pilot, to this day, he'll tell you where all the different craft service was, where all the wheelchairs were hidden, and has such incredible memories of all of you making him laugh and caring for him on that set. I mean, he literally grew up there, and he.
Oh, how much fun was he?
So anyway, he sends his love to all of you.
Cal and Mia now. Cal and Mia must be.
Cal is get ready. Cal is 30.
No.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
No.
Oh my God.
And Mia just finished her freshman year of college.
Oh my God.
All right, here's some fun. In about 10 days, I'll be 60. So fuck off, all of
May we all wear it as well.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
Guys, it's crazy. It doesn't feel like 25 years ago. by any
No.
It doesn't.
No, it was because it was 26 or.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Thank you very much.
Tony with the sass. Hey, Goran, let me ask you something. You know, when we were talking to the cast of Scandal, they were basically saying they didn't know what would happen from 1 week to the next. I feel you were always on the verge of being murdered or dying. Did you think you were going to be killed? Like, did you know you were going to live through all these horrible things?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, I was on such a ride when I came there. I was like, everything was like awesome, you know. It was just unbelievable to be there. You know, I just came from Croatia. Literally, I did some movies, you know, small parts and stuff like that. And suddenly I had a meeting with these people, John Wells and Lydia Woodward. I never heard of them. And then 5 days later, my agent is calling like, they would like you on this show, ER. And I'm like, are we talking about the same ER? And I just came there and started working with all these crazy people. Jonathan Kaplan yelling and screaming, giving me the tapes. You need to memorize these words. And I have a dialect coach. I have a doctor giving me like these stitches. Go home and you need to learn how to do this. And I'm like,
Oh, man.
what the fuck am I doing? Oh, am I supposed to say that?
Okay.
I'm not supposed to say that. Juliana was my coach for all the bad words. That was a C word that I never heard before. And we've been, I was kind of told off not to say that word. It's a very bad word, apparently, in the English language.
You taught us all the bad words.
I have to say, Goran, when I wasn't being threatened by your presence because you were an internationally acclaimed Hamlet theater performer, and you were
I'm 6 feet. That was the problem.
You came in, and years later, I looked back and thought, you came to a different country and in a different language, held your own on the #1 show in the world at the time. If any of us had gone to Croatia and tried to pick up Croatian and pulled in to the rhythms of the #1 show there, we would have failed miserably. It's such an unbelievable achievement how seamlessly you fit in and how much extra work you had to do on the side to do so. If I never said it then, I'll say it now. Deeply.
No, thank you.
It was remarkable.
Yeah,
I mean, I got to witness it pretty close up, and it was remarkable. You never let us see the work.
No, but the ride was so wild that you really couldn't stop and tell yourself, oh my God, what's happening to me? You know,
Right.
you would just kind of like, it was so busy that summer came and you're like, oh my God, you know, this just happened. But that time, you know, we were all kind of like in, and you guys were all really, I mean, I always felt really welcome. And I don't know, George, you remember this, but my first day, I parked the car in a parking lot. And there's this guy that we worked in the same movie but never saw each other. I had a 1 day of filming in Macedonia on a Peacemaker.
Yeah.
You know? And he's on this parking lot and say, hey, you're a new guy. And I'm like, yeah, that would be me. Oh, man, you're going to love it. You know, show is great. You're going to have so much fun. This is awesome. Okay, man, you know, goodbye. I'm like, me again. Sorry, it's a little bit late. My brain is like, but yeah, it was amazing. You know, I really felt, you know, Tony was so nice calling us, you know, to this place, and Juliana was very, very, very friendly to me, and Noah and I played tons of pool. He would come by for dinner and stuff, you know. So it was really, you know, I'm so grateful for, you know, that time spent there. I really can't find words to explain that to you guys. Seriously. I mean, really the best period of my life, those couple of years, you know.
We
have your first appearance, and look how sweet and relaxed you are.
Exactly.
Hi. What's your name? My name is Luca. It's a funny name, isn't it?
All that gel.
That kid is now 51 years old.
Knees are still scabbed up.
Hey, before I forget, Alex Kingston could not be here, but she sent this amazing video that I want to play right now.
Oh, Alex.
Hello to my ER family. I'm so sorry that I'm not able to be with you live tonight, but as you can see, it is way past my bedtime. So I just want to say good luck with the Waterkeeper Alliance fundraiser tonight. Access to clean water should be every living being's right. It has been for many millennia, so let's make it happen. Yum.
Oh my God.
Okay, first of all, that's not water, okay?
Oh
Do you remember the first day Alex was on the set, you guys? And, you know, American actors have this funny thing about British actors. The sound, you know, if you look back at the 30s and 40s, we even tried to sound British. You know, oh, darling, you know, I'm only doing it for your happiness. Yeah. So we're always sort of intimidated somehow by an English accent. And Alex came on the set, and the first day we were working, we were in the emergency room, and she's like, CBC typing across 4 units. And we're like, oh, she's good. She's really good. And we were immediately intimidated by Alex when she showed up.
Hello. Laura, I want to keep talking about this whole thing about role models. What about being a very present lesbian on a TV show? I mean, it was really, was it the first of its kind? I can't imagine any other show that had a main character that was lesbian.
Television?
Yeah, well, bisexual or lesbian, however you want to say it.
Yeah, it was the first. It was a pretty big deal. You know, it was like you said, a main character on a hit show. And I remember during the summer, they brought me into the office, which they often did, to have a little meeting with us to sort of talk about the year. And so, of course, I thought, okay, I'm getting fired.
Right.
Great run. I'm so lucky I got to do this. And they said, you know, we're thinking about maybe... And they were just kept like hemming and hawing. And I was like, what? And we wonder how you would feel if the character was gay. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. It was great. But also I was so happy I wasn't getting fired. So I thought it was great. I loved doing it. I loved trying to figure it out. I got lots and lots of letters and, you know, still to this day. I think it really, that's one of the great things about the show, certainly, with so many aspects of it, certainly what Gloria did on the show. I mean, it did change the world. And they used to do a thing on Fridays. They would, I don't know how they did it, but they did some kind of study where they would see the social impact of the show, like how many people called for AIDS tests, how many people called for domestic abuse counseling. And it was incredible. So that's one of the things that's so amazing. You can have this job that's so fun, so wonderful. And literally you're making somebody healthier or happier, you know, by doing it. So,
I mean, what Gloria was doing, people forget. At the time, it was, you know, it was 1995, I think, Gloria, when it happened. Or, you know, people were still coming to terms with Magic Johnson. It was still this whole idea that this is actually a pandemic that is affecting everybody, and people were afraid to touch one another, and they were scared of all these other things. It was such a, you know, it was making people a pariah in some way. And you were playing a character that's saying, I'm going to continue to live my life with this. I was a victim of this in some ways. And I thought that was amazing to watch. And I thought that was on a show that 40 million people might see. I thought that was incredibly important and brave.
And that was before retrovirals. I mean, it was like,
yeah, it was a death sentence.
Really,
Tony, do you remember going to those hospices? You and I went down there. We would just hold hands through the night. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, it was really, it was at that cusp. It was literally at that cusp when medicines were beginning to give people their lives back. Right? Mm-hmm. So it was, I mean, I know this word is used a lot, but it was groundbreaking in the way that we broke the barriers on who gets HIV, how they get it, Jeannie Goulet was a married, professional, straight woman. You know, and it was like that doesn't. Yeah, it does.
And you come out so proudly.
I was just going to say, you guys, you know that it was like, it was such a mixed blessing because of the huge success of the show was, of course, the blessing. And yet at that time, you know, it was a challenge for what was going on in my personal life at the time. And there was no break from it. It was, you know, people would track me, like call me there was no, but the good thing, as Laura mentioned, is that it literally saved lives. I mean, people, and still to this day, as the repeats happen, you know, they are thankful and grateful about breaking down the stigma, like eradicating the stigma and the shame and the denial. Still prevalent in certain pockets, of course. But Jeannie Goulet was, I mean, she handled it with such strength and grace and dignity, you know? Yeah. And she was kind of, if I may say so, she was kind of amazing and definitely a role that I will be proud of for the rest of my life. And I wanted to make for sure it be, how do I say this? I wasn't going to let her die from it because that wasn't, HIV didn't have to be death anymore, no way. And I didn't want that to be the message in the world forever, for all time. So, yeah.
Well, we love the scene where you, at this point, I think it's only Laura and Tony who know that it's you who's HIV positive, and it's the scene where you basically you reveal that you're a patient X.
Oh, it's so great.
The real question here isn't in law and policies, it's do our patients have the right to know? This in no way has any reflection upon my opinion on employee X's work.
Is there an actual employee X, or are we just talking?
We're talking policy here, people. Employee X could be any one of us.
Excuse me. Just would everyone stop calling me Employee X? I am HIV positive.
Yeah. Wow. I remember that so well.
So powerful. It really gave people courage to be able to do it.
And the other powerful clip we have is Laura when you come out to Dr. Romano. And by the way, Paul McCrane could not. It was a last minute thing. A family thing came up, and he could not make it. And he emailed and said he sent his regrets, and he's hoping that Gloria Rubin will put together an ER reunion part 2, and that he'll be there for that.
But so this is Laura.
When you long list of people who want to be on that, I got calls all day from people that were like, "Wait a second, where was my invite? I want to be on there."
We're going to do a part 2.
Poor Gloria had to say no after a while because we only had so many boxes.
Yeah,
all right, so we'll do part 2, Gloria. There you go. Okay.
But this is that famous men's room scene.
Are you giving me an ultimatum,
I swear to God,
because
Robert,
that sounded like an ultimatum to me, and I do not respond well to ultimatums. You had better choose your battles very carefully. You're the chief of emergency medicine, not the county's lesbian advocate.
That's where you're wrong, Robert, because I am both. I am the chief of emergency medicine, and I am a lesbian. And if you pursue this matter any further, I will take it to the County Board of Supervisors, the ACLU, the press, and anyone else who will listen. So I suggest you choose your battles very carefully.
Woo! That's right.
Go, Laura.
Great scene. Such a great scene.
Remember overlapping dialogue?
Remember when people talk on top of each other?
How quickly everything happens, right? I mean, if you did this on TV now, you'd be like 7 pages later. You'd be like, this always went right to it.
Yeah.
Really,
okay, I want to rewatch all the episodes now. Just seeing these little clips is,
yeah.
That's what's been so amazing about
with so many memories. This is
the pandemic seems to have started a whole resurgence. Right, everyone's watching ER again, and it had been years since I had been called North Hathaway when and now it's like young kids are watching it. And I actually asked a couple of kids. I said, "Does it bother you that there's no cell phones, or does it feel like it's technologically behind?" And they go, "We don't even notice."
Wow.
Because it's so fast and it's so good. So yeah.
You remember our first season, Steven Spielberg gave us all cell phones,
The gift that
which
keeps taking.
at the time we called it the gift that keeps on taking because it was like $4 a minute. And we're like,
You didn't tell us that we had to pay
That's
the
what I'm
phone
talking
bill. I didn't know that.
Want to hear the story? Steven Spielberg had given the cast of Always, the movie he just directed, Mazda Miatas. He
Yeah,
gave
exactly.
Holly Hunter
Right.
and all brand new Mazda Miatas. And it was Christmas time, and he gave us all these cell phones. He said to me, hey, we should write a really funny thank you note that says, Dear Steven, thanks for the Miata, crossed out, cell phone. And I was like, yeah, that'll be funny. And then George didn't send his.
Well, not stupid.
Like the biggest ingrate in the world to Steven Spielberg. And I just want to say I was put up to it.
Okay, Juliana, to kind of prove your point about ER being ahead of its time, we have the scene where there's a patient who has a numb chin, and you do not know. You're shocked.
You're using like the intranet, to
Yes,
figure out
it's
what
a
it
new
is.
system that just came to the hospital, and it's between you and Tony.
I've got this kid in the clinic who's complaining of a numb chin. What should I do?
Why don't you try numb chin?
Numb chin. Sounds a little too, easy. Hey. Wow.
There you go.
It's Ask Jeeves. Anybody?
Exactly.
Wow.
Okay, so there's the most obvious question that so many fans have been asking: would you guys ever consider doing an ER reboot
or a 2-hour special?
Here's my performance.
You can come back like on Grey's Anatomy, like in a dream sequence.
It's all a dream, Tony.
In a white suit.
I don't know. The hardest part is that when you look at the show, and consistently over, so many years, it would be hard to say that you could do it at the level that we did it. I'm not sure that that's available. Because boy, you watch. Juliana, I've been actually watching it a little bit because my wife's watching it, which is very odd. And I have to say, it's such great television, and it's so. I just watched Love's Labor Lost, and I have to say, I'm barely in it, so I can say it sort of objectively. It's as good a piece of television as I've ever seen, and what you guys did. And Tony, what you do in those scenes, I was like, this is better than anything I see in film or anywhere. This is stunning. It's stunning work. And, and I felt that way about a lot of the episodes I saw. I'm not sure you can, it's hard to catch lightning again, I don't know. Maybe other people have a different opinion.
You can try.
Yeah, does anyone else?
Classy of John not to franchise it and not to do ER New York or ER LA, which was trend at the time. CSI and Law and Order and all those shows that were on around the same time, they all figured out how they could brand themselves and replicate the model in a different city and get a different show out of it. And I always thought it was really classy that we never tried to do that we just sort of.
Although, Noah, let me just say, ER Ibiza.
Exactly. ER Florence sounds pretty good.
I don't know. I don't think you can reboot it. I think it's what George said. You can't capture lightning in a bottle twice. I mean, I think you have to leave what was so beautiful and move on, because it just feels cheap. It feels like it would cheapen it.
Right.
For me.
Don't say
Not that we're not over the Friends reunion that's coming up. Good for that.
But I actually think sitcoms are easier to sort of bring back than our shows in a way. I feel like, they were so character driven in a way. It's very different.
I did have an idea about Jeannie Boulet 20 years later, though.
Where would she be?
In New York. Her viral load is 0. She's divorced. Her son is in college. He's struggling with mental health issues. She's still in the ER, but now I have it like a little bit of it. Anyway.
So maybe it'll be about Jeannie and others will make guest star appearances. How about that? It's a possibility.
Done.
Laura, you directed.
Yes.
There you go, Laura.
House, yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't know.
All
It's hard to conceive of a way, because people ask this all the time, and it's hard to conceive of a way that it could live right now correctly. Like, it would have to be different in just the right way. I mean, it would have to be so good, and so I just don't know how you could crack it exactly. To make it match that in any way. It would be tough.
The tempting aspect would be that ER came on the air in 1994.
Yeah.
Right when Bill Clinton had been elected president and was going to revamp the entire healthcare industry, and he appointed Hillary Clinton to do it. And suddenly that became the lightning rod topic, and we were the show that, when we were on Newsweek magazine's cover, the byline said a healthcare program that really works, because we were in the national conversation about what healthcare in America was at that moment. Similarly, we're in that same conversation now as they're looking at all these metrics about who COVID affected more than anybody else. We realize that we have a huge two-party system in our healthcare industry. There is a Jeremiah show to talk about that discrepancy with the passion of a John Wells behind it. That would be an interesting show to see.
Noah, before we close this segment,
we have a great
I
clip
have to
related
show
to
this
that.
clip because it's between Tony and Juliana, just to make your point about talking so much, especially in those early episodes.
The zeitgeist.
Yeah, it was such in the zeitgeist. Here.
Her insurance company wants her transferred to Midway for orthopedic admission.
I can't apply a plaster splint without moving the ankle. It's going to hurt like hell.
We'll medicate her.
Do her parents know about this?
I'm going to tell them now.
Mark, we're going to splint an unstable ankle fracture. Send a 12-year-old girl across town for an operation we can do upstairs?
Look, I don't like this any more than you do, but that's what her insurance wants done.
I thought you were the doctor.
I am the doctor. But if I admit her here, her very nice parents are going to get slapped with a surgical bill for tens of thousands of dollars.
I quit.
What?
I want those sideburns back.
Never.
I would have to say that I would love to do a reboot, only to be able to hang out with this group of people, the talent. As you get older, the appreciation level and just the awareness is so much greater, and this just such great fortune to. I would love to have been, even now, just even this, surrounded by these people. So,
I do have to say, Gloria, when I got the call, they said we're going to do some sort of an ER reunion where everybody gets to talk. I think everybody who's in these squares sort of felt the same way, which was, we were really excited to see each other. I'm excited to see this gang. These are people that I really love, and that we grew up together. Really grew up together and in many ways, and it's fun to see you guys.
Yeah.
And
George, I'll never forget you chaperoning me on the Tonight Show, because I was a nervous wreck and I was going to pee in my pants and I didn't want to go out there. My publicist came and knocked on your door, and you stayed. Instead of leaving, you stayed on that stage with me, and that's the kind of amazing people. Makes me
you were. I mean, because because 2 years earlier I was a nervous wreck doing it. And, I mean, that was the thing. We all got to experience this together. I mean, we all got to take this ride where we go. We went from. Tony had some success in film, but the rest of us hadn't had much, and suddenly, we were on the cover of Newsweek about 3 weeks after the show. Premiered, and it was like we went from 0 to 100, and suddenly we're working in New York, and we all people knew our names. Remember that time?
And George, we have to say, which you're very humble about this, but you had such a clear vision of how you thought television could be for actors on it, and like Mina said, your way of talking. I mean, I only ended up on Saturday Night Live because you made that happen. You suggested me for that. I mean, you were gracious and you were like, knowing that as long as we stay classy and happy, we win. And we did that, you know, and you really knew that. Your experience of what it's like to be on a show and work with people for months and months, and how that can go south. You would never let that happen. And you know, we owe a great deal of gratitude to you for that.
Well, I just feel like I've just felt so lucky that I've been on series that were really miserable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I did the first season of of Roseanne. You know, and oh my God, you know, there was some crazy shit that went on there, as we talked about over the years. And so to be in a place where everyone just, you know, we were just locked arms. And, you know, and Tony, we talked about this, and all of us, we've had these long conversations about the idea that, you know, the only way this is going to survive is if we just insulate ourselves and protect ourselves. You know, we were working, people don't understand, we were working 17-hour days. This wasn't like some easy gig. So we weren't really we were going out and hanging out and getting, you know, we were working. And so all of a sudden we'd go to Chicago to shoot, and the world would explode and we'd be in shock. And we were isolated with each other. We were hunkered down with each other, and it made us a really tight-knit group, you know, all of us. And I think we were really protective of one another over the years. You know,
George, you talk about all these pilots you did before. Didn't you do one where you were like in a rock band? You were a bass player?
Yes, I did. I'm shocked that didn't go. I played a police officer during the day and a rock star at night.
Well,
that's one does.
This is the one that you told me that you're actually interested in doing a reboot of it.
What's the matter?
It's no good.
Sounded all right to me.
Yeah, well, all right, just isn't going to cut it.
Okay, here we go again. The new Rockney story.
Now, here's the best part of this. I got that pilot on like a Tuesday, and on Thursday I'm shooting. I've never played a guitar in my life. And I have to let you go. I got the job because I had long hair.
I was wondering what that was.
I feel like we've never seen that before.
Oh, you haven't?
I know.
I'll send you some clips.
Well, I want to put that on a loop.
By the way, that's not even my worst. I'm in Return of the Killer Tomatoes, man.
All right, so we're going to clean the slate here, and Gloria's has this amazing video. She's going to talk a little bit about Waterkeeper. I think some of you might be joining us for the last section, which is nurses, dedicated to nurses. And if you're not staying, then hopefully
we'll see you at ER Part 2.
That's right. Hopefully we'll see you at ER Part 2. So George, we'll see you in a little bit. Juliana, hold on, let's see. Laura, Noah, Tony, Ming-Na, and Goran can go to sleep now. So Gloria, do you have any updates? Because I know we've been getting texts, and I haven't really looked at my phone.
I haven't either. I don't know.
David said they did.
I know that we're at
Goran or Ming-Na, so give it
$30,000 now, but I don't know. I don't have any specific numbers. I'm so sorry. I thought that I would get an update.
Okay, well, they're watching, so I'm sure we'll get one. But we have maybe while this video, because you wanted to show. Can you set up the video and we'll show it before we bring on the nurses?
Thank you for that. Sorry, I just totally was
not
prepared for this. But for sure, the video. So for World Water Day, this is an idea that I put out to our 350 water keepers, and we for everybody to do an individual video at their watershed, just who they are, where they are, why they love their watershed, etc. So out of 300, and this is the first time that this has been requested of them, we received 50 videos out of 350, which is pretty darn good considering that it was the first time, and from all over the globe, right? So we put together a video, 2.5-minute video for World Water Day that has a combination of many of these videos. And also, just FYI, because every day is World Water Day for water keepers around the world, every week we are on social media, we're we're posting each individual video at length so that everybody can see exactly, everybody's story, and again, where they are, why they are a clean water warrior, what they're doing for their watershed. It's kind of amazing. So I hope that everybody, enjoys the video, and definitely please remember to donate, and I'll be sure to get back to everybody with some numbers.
All right, here's the video.
Water is life. It sustains us both physically through drinking, cleansing, and other critical functions, and emotionally by healing and replenishing our spirits. This World Water Day.
Happy World Water Day, everyone.
Happy World Water Day.
Feliz Día del Agua.
We must take a stand and defend our right to clean water before it's too late. Waterkeeper Alliance is a global movement of clean water warriors whose dedication, commitment, and enthusiasm for the future deeply inspire me. But what inspires them?
I want my children to also enjoy a clean and healthy river in their future.
And the opportunity to make them incredible environments for us and for nature.
I also cannot stand seeing a fellow human not having access to drinkable water.
Waterkeeper model gave me a mechanism to make a difference.
When I hear stories from our waterkeepers around the world about the growth, success, and effectiveness they have had and continue to have, I am completely enamored because the passion of these advocates is palpable.
Feeling love every single day with my waterways and my river.
It's a beautiful green ribbon in an otherwise dry landscape.
The coming years will be critical in the fight for clean water as we rapidly approach the point of no return due to climate change, rampant pollution, and other man-made factors. We must take steps to reverse the trend and stop this global water crisis before it's too late. Having been involved with Waterkeeper Alliance since 2007, I have seen the incredible progress that can be made when friends like you stand alongside us.
We're the voice of these rivers. We're clean water warriors, and you can be too.
Though we cannot physically be on the front lines together, you are there with us in spirit, fighting with us for the future of our planet, for the world's great water sources, and for the communities surrounding them.
I'm proud.
I'm incredibly humbled
To be a clean water warrior.
Clean water warrior. Well, what's more important than water?
Happy World Water Day. Clean Water Warriors.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You see what we're doing here?
It's so great. It's just worldwide. It's this thing that unifies all of us. It's really wonderful.
Exactly. And you know what else is wonderful? Okay, so I just got numbers. We are up to $40,000. And just from this evening, exactly. And Waterkeeper Alliance will match up to $100,000 through this Sunday. So keep it coming, man. We are just like, thank you, you guys. This is just, wow.
It's so important.
And for everyone who's watching this, because I know there were comments I saw even before the show, they were like, can we watch this after it's live? The answer is yes.
Yeah, and tell all your friends.
You subscribe to Stars in the House.
Yeah, please subscribe to Stars in the House. Everyone that's watching right now.
All of our past shows on there, and ER will be the top one to watch. So we've got some people who stayed. I think
we've got new people.
I think George might have gone to sleep.
Let's bring back our regular cast.
Let's bring back the people who were here earlier, and then we're going to bring on some more folks.
Thanks.
Sorry, Steph, you want to bring them on?
We have Juliana.
Yay, she stayed. Yay.
We have Dr. Laura. We have the Unabomber, Noah Wiley.
Steph.
That's what George said, not me. I'm just quoting. We have the fabulous Anthony Edwards.
The fabulous.
We have Ming Na. We have Goran in London, who can stay up later than George Clooney. I'm very impressed.
I have more coffee.
I think George. So George just emailed me. He said he got cut off, and that was such a weird way to end.
Oh,
I thought so too.
Tell him to come-
that we were supposed to stay on.
Tell him to sign the hell back on, and we'll bring it back on. We can fit him on screen.
Yeah,
want
so
to do
David,
that
you
right
can
now?
go off, and George.
Yeah,
can
tell
go on.
George to come back.
There's a.
Oh, he probably went to sleep. Hold on. I'll do it quickly.
Oh, but you know what? Though, here's the problem, though, Seth, is that we can only fit literally 10 people on the screen.
So I shouldn't tell him to come back on.
Well, no, I mean it's he's staying.
We'll
up so
see
late.
him appear in the.
So you know
we'll
what,
see
Ming-Na and Goran, do you mind? I hate to say goodbye to you this way, but let's
No.
ask.
No, you know what?
I can go to get somebody else on. for
Okay.
sure. I'll just watch. I'll just watch it on the
Sorry.
YouTube thing.
All right.
Okay.
You and I need to have dinner soon. Goran, you and I need to play pool soon. I miss you terribly.
When I come back to Los Angeles, I'll give you a call. How about that?
Please do.
Okay.
in New York.
I just wanted to say it was so awesome to see you. Okay.
Yeah.
Goran,
so awesome
before
to
you
see
leave,
everyone.
I want to show
Bye.
Goran. Here, this is you, Goran, in your serious mode on the show.